So, what did you think of Kissin' Cousins?
Well, it was reminiscent of Lil Abner, which you made me watch 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But with like 200% more Elvis.
Exactly. It is exactly 200% more Elvis. Elvis playing dual roles as Josh Morgan and Jodie Tatum.
You know, all the greats played dual roles.
But what did you think? Blonde Elvis? Brunette Elvis?
Brunette Elvis is always going to be the better Elvis.
Well, but is that familiarity,
No.
He does look better as a brunette. Straight up.
The wig was wrong.
It was so wrong.
Badger fur is indistinguishable from human hair. This is not true.
But 1964 film, Kissin' Cousins, directed by Gene Nelson, screenplay by Nelson and Gerald Drayson Adams.
Welcome. Do you want me to watch what?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We're new.
Well, I am.
This is the podcast where we watch movies that at least one or the other hasn't seen, and then we talk about it. In this case, Liz has brought forth Kissin' Cousins, a movie I've never seen an Elvis movie before tonight.
Yeah.
Although I did watch at least two different versions of Bye Bye Birdie. Does that count?
Not an Elvis film.
Okay.
Elvis adjacent.
Elvis adjacent.
Elvis adjacent.
Dick Van Dyke, and the other one had Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
That's close.
Neither of them playing the Elvis character.
Yeah, but who's more like Elvis than Jason Alexander?
And Dick Van Dyke.
And Dick Van Dyke. You merge the two of them, you get one Elvis.
Oh, dear.
And some leftover bits that might be Wallace Shawn.
And I know that there are people screaming, why did you make his first Elvis movie, Kissin' Cousins? It is not the greatest Elvis movie. It is not even in the top Elvis movies.
It's not?
It is probably not.
Huh.
But it was my favorite Elvis movie growing up.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It was fun.
Funny.
It was fun. And I had a hard time choosing between this and Clam Bake for you.
And the rapey vibes were to a minimum.
She did beat the hell out of him.
Well, that one, yes, but also all the Kitty Hawks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I don't know that it would be funny today. Carry on.
Carry on.
What's this movie about?
All right.
As though I weren't there.
Okay, so the U.S. federal government, they are...
The finest government that money can buy.
They want to build...
I'm not drinking moonshine.
No, you are not. It's Maiden Mountain's breath in this movie.
Sure.
But the government, they want to build an ICBM missile base, and they have the perfect mountain.
UCBM?
ICBM. That joke runs a long time.
Everybody sees the BM.
Everybody sees the BM, but poor Pappy.
Poor Pappy.
But they want to build a missile base. They want to build it on Big Smoky Mountain in Tennessee. Unfortunately, that is owned by the Tatums. Privately owned land, been owned centuries by the Tatums. And you can't just eminent domain something. You want to be a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So, what to do? What do? Everybody who goes out there gets shot at and chased away. And the U.S. government is not going to shoot back at private people's property in an Elvis movie.
Not in an Elvis movie, for sure.
So, everything gets passed out. We want to be building this within a week.
Never mind that thumb. That is Geek Cave Kid, trying to...
Who also found her first Elvis movie.
That's right. He has the Riz.
He has the Riz.
No cap, totally Sigma.
You know what my dad had said when he first came on screen? Isn't he cute?
Elvis is cute.
Elvis is cute.
He's a cute dude.
He's a cute dude?
He's a cute
You
guy.
think so too? Is that a cute dude, confirmation from Geek Cave Kid? Geek Cave Kid confirms Elvis cute dude. No cap.
He had aura.
He had Riz.
He has the Riz. All right, we got to talk about the...
We got to talk about the movie now.
It.
Yeah, huh?
I can say dang it. You've said cuss words on this before.
Logic is infallible.
It is infallible.
Carry on.
Yep.
U.S. Army is going to make a secret base on a mountain.
So
That always works.
They bring in, it's like, okay, we got a week. Let's call in this guy. He's got a good, he's been to how many different... He hasn't been...
5 different places.
5 different places. Hasn't seen his wife in 3 years. Finally back in the States, hoping for a, local job now. He's got a week to get this mountain leased from the Tatums, or he's going to be sent to Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
So he does a smart thing. He says, well, we need somebody from that area.
Smart thinking.
Enter Josh. Elvis. Enter Elvis 1.
Elvis the first.
Army Elvis. Enter Army Elvis.
Yep. He flies planes.
He flies planes. He wants to help because otherwise he gets to go to Greenland too.
His plane's called What's the Matter You?
It is. He flies demonstration planes. He's a parade pilot.
Yep. He does the acrobatic stuff.
So that makes no difference whatsoever for the rest of the movie.
Not even a little bit.
But
Chekhov's airplane, totally screwed.
I guess, unless you just say, okay, well, you got, Army guy who's been deployed for 3 years, Army guy who does, demonstrations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They go and you get your, I guess, second, song number, because you had the opening credits with Kissin' Cousins. Because this is a musical. It's an Elvis movie.
Of course it's a musical.
You do not have Elvis in a movie and not let him sing.
So you don't have Randy Travis in a special episode of Touched by an Angel without him singing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put Jack Black anywhere without him singing. It's just the rules.
It's the rules. So, we got Kissin' Cousins, and you have the, the Army boys whistling while Elvis sings Smoky Mountain Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And you meet the first of the Tatums who get make a good first impression by shooting at the Army.
They are on private property.
They are on
They did pass the first warning.
They did pass the first warning.
It just said Tatum property, now get. So.
But you meet Azalea and Selena and Jody. Jody, who looks exactly like Josh.
By the by, most of these names have no meaning whatsoever.
No.
It's the blonde or the brunette, or the blonde or the brunette.
That's true.
All right, and so we meet Jody, and they get to wrestling.
They get to wrestling. You find out, hey, we're actually cousins because of, his great-great-great aunt married their great-great-great uncle at some point. Mm-hmm. So they're cousins.
They's kin.
They're kin. And that helps the Army out tremendously because they go to meet Ma. We have another song break or two. And Ma lets them stick around because, well, you're kin, you're family. And I guess we'll let these Army critters set up camp over on Porcupine Flats, way over there.
Yep.
And y'all come to dinner. And so, Jody and the Army guy, not a general.
Sergeant Salvo.
Sergeant. They go to dinner. They are unable to get Pappy to agree to the ICBM missile, but he'll think about it.
He'll think on it.
And then you just have a long series of thinking about it. You have, we got to convince the girls to help us. So we'll take them shopping. And we'll let them buy some things on the government dime. It's got to be just a few trinkets. They spend over $3,000 in, Knoxville.
Spending power, that's about 30 grand.
That's about 30 grand.
Yeah. Just
on mostly, a mink coat for Ma, a new gun and hat and shirt for Jody, and a bunch of bikinis. For them and the aforementioned Kitty Hawks.
Yeah.
The Kitty Hawks are a bunch of mountain maidens, about a dozen, 2 dozen.
2 dozen, I'd say.
That live on the mountain because there's not been a boy born in Kitty Hawk Valley for over 20 years.
Shocking. Truly shocking.
And so these ladies are real happy that the Army is up in Porcupine Flats.
Yep.
And the army is not very good at not being captured by a bunch of unarmed women in the mountains.
They're very persuasive.
They are very persuasive. I know.
Quite persistent.
Yeah. So.
They got Riz.
They've got Riz. So we got Josh and his two cousins, the blonde and the brunette.
Yep.
And he likes them both. Can't marry them both. He picks the brunette, but he's still got the blonde. He's got to figure out someone for the blonde, so he finds one of the army guys, William George Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
To what's that word, Cave Kids? Riz her up.
Riz her up.
Riz her up.
Drip with aura.
He does not have aura.
Calm down, guys. We don't want everybody's brains melting.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So, one of the other army guys starts dating the one cousin. Cool. We got the two female cousins and Josh hooked up. We still need to get a girl for Jody. We can't have an Elvis without a girlfriend.
We cannot.
We have blonde Elvis needs a girlfriend.
Blonde Elvis needs a babe.
So, we hook him up with, the army. They've got all these army guys. Not a single one of them knows how to type. So, Army Elvis goes back to town, brings back a stenographer. She's a good typist. She also can, literally throw Jody, which is something that he kind of likes.
He kind of digs it.
He digs it. She throws him about 3 or 4 times. Granted, he also gets thrown by Ma.
He likes being manhandled.
He does.
By a woman. Woman handled?
Woman handled.
Woman handling man.
So, cool. Got everybody paired up. Happy ending coming. Oh no. Now everybody's not doing their chores. Ma's upset.
No! We need to slop the hogs.
Well, they're too busy, playing with their new gun and wearing their new clothes and playing with makeup and
Playing with guns. Hold on. Pause.
It was the 60s. Playing with guns is exactly what they were doing.
He was out hunting with his new gun all the time. And chasing around, the female army officer.
Oh.
Midge?
Midge.
Oh.
Is that her name?
That was her name.
Wasn't that one of the Archie characters?
I think you're right.
Or is that Madge? Midge or Madge?
Midge sounds right, but I could be wrong.
You tell us more about the movie. I'm going to look up.
Pappy needs to think things over, so he goes hunting with his dog, Hezekiah. Hezekiah comes back, Pappy does not. Then we get the greatest song in the movie, Pappy, Won't You Please Come Home, sung by Ma. I'm a little bit...
Midge.
It is Midge.
Yep, she was Moose's girlfriend.
Ah.
What?
Moose, he was the football player in the Archie crew.
So, Glenda Farrell sings the only non-Elvis song in here.
Yeah.
And it is a good song.
It's a pretty good song.
It's a good
I'll
song.
give that.
Mm-hmm. But
it's also very much in a blues style.
It is.
As opposed to kind of the country that they're going with for almost every... And the, weirdly, beach music?
It was beachy. It's an Elvis movie.
That means nothing to me. I've seen one Elvis movie.
That is true.
And it's been Kissin' Cousins.
But Pappy has gone missing. So the army goes out to find Pappy in the least effective way possible, as you said, by walking single file up the mountain.
Yeah. Yep. I hear there have been improvements in military intelligence since then.
So they find Pappy. Pappy throws a party. He's fine. All of his kids are hooking up. Things are good. There's a big party. But oh no, the general who wants things done by the end of the week is on his way. We got to get this settled. We got to get it settled tonight, during the party.
Truth.
Pappy's not budging. Not budging at all. General shows up.
Spoken!
We're at the last moments, and Army Elvis has a Hail Mary. He tells Pappy that the army will keep any government personnel off his side of the mountain.
Well, that sounds like a brilliant plan.
And Pappy loves this plan because, well, as any hillbilly, story will ever tell you, you don't like the revenuers. And it's a happy ending. Everyone's hooked up. We have a big old song. We reprise Kissin' Cousins.
Twice.
With, Elvis singing with himself and some camera work.
Yep, that's good camera work.
It wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad, especially for 1964.
For 1964, it was not bad.
They also did a good job linking the camera work with the one shot.
Most of the time, you do not see Jody and Josh on screen at the same time. At the end, they wanted to show that big moment, and they were able to do it. And on an old screen, you wouldn't be able to see that slight blur that shows where the cut is.
Yep, where they film twice, and then they
spliced it together.
They physically cut the film in order to splice it together.
And there's a slight blur where that film comes together that you never would have noticed if you're not watching on a
75-inch
high def
UHD screen with upscaling.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. / not sorry.
But we've got, some really good Elvis music going on here. We've got,
Where does this fall in the line of Elvis movies? Like, is this the middle of the timeline? Is this the beginning of the Elvis movies? The end of them?
I'm not sure. It is not the beginning of the Elvis movies. I want to say it's towards the middle. But I have not looked up. I know someone. May I phone a friend? He'll probably rattle it right off to you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and ask Google.
Ask Google.
Wikipedia will let me know.
So, this movie did get the screenwriters, Nelson and Adams. They were nominated for the Writers Guild of America Award for Best Written American Musical that year.
I can see that. There was a lot of good music in it, and I don't remember the name of the song that they sang, but it was the one that was the riff on Shenandoah.
Oh, let's see. That one, Tender Feeling, I think.
Tender Feeling. I really enjoyed that one. Now, I don't know if it's because I recognized it's folk music, but it was a really well done use of the tune with the Elvis stuff on it. Because Elvis, he got his start with gospel anyway. Gospel, then country, and then into the rock and roll. This felt like him going to his roots.
It did.
I think that probably my biggest criticism is he also looks bored half the time that he's singing. Like, he's focusing so much on singing and getting the words right and getting his movements right that he's not actually feeling he's not listening to his lyrics.
He seemed wooden at times, like he's being very careful to match his choreography and not letting the Elvis King of Rock and Roll movements. Probably because I would assume this isn't rock and roll, like you said. This is more of the country and whatnot. You don't want him doing necessarily the hip shakes.
Right.
There was none of that. He hardly danced.
Oh, he didn't dance. He didn't dance as Army Elvis.
No.
He danced as Hillbilly Elvis a little.
Yeah, but it was mostly people dancing around and behind him.
Very much so.
And that is probably one of a big gripe on the movie is, depending on when it's made, you really did kind of lose a little bit of Elvis being able to have that kind of freedom to just kind of move and be Elvis, be comfortable in the role.
So, yeah, this kind of fits in the middle.
Yep, I knew it wasn't at the beginning.
56 to it looks like 72 was the last one that kind of, but I would say probably 69 is his final feature film role. After that, it's concert documentary stuff.
Yep. Oh, by the way, they lost to Mary Poppins.
Well, if you're going to lose to the best.
That's true. I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
We
were just talking Dick Van Dyke earlier.
Right. And so, but it actually does fit. When you consider that this was probably MGM.
It was MGM.
MGM going up against Disney in 1964.
Yep.
I mean, it was going to be unlikely that they would beat him anyway.
It's like trying to go against a Pixar movie,
Yeah.
when Pixar is in its heyday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good music. I think Kissin' Cousins did make the Billboard Top 100. I want to say it was in the top 20 somewhere.
That makes sense.
Like, it didn't hit number 1, but it was in the top parts. And it is fun. It is, it is not a super serious movie. It is a fun movie, which most of Elvis Presley's movies are. They're fun.
This is very clearly a don't go into this movie expecting high drama. That's not the point.
No.
But, wow, they had a real uphill battle that year.
I say, it was a good year.
Well, Mary Poppins, Over the Greek, Dr. Strangelove, and My Fair Lady.
Mary Poppins.
Wow, that's crazy. And then you got your best actors, Rex Harrison, Richard Burton, Peter O'Toole, Peter Sellers, and Bancroft, Julie Andrews. Yeah, they weren't going to win, some of these, some of these Oscars. But getting nominated, that was a hell of an uphill battle there. That's great. So, anyway, this is a fun movie, and it's really well done. And it's 1964, so you kind of give it a little bit of grace when it comes to some of the camera work, especially, and also some of the optics.
Yeah.
The thing is that it is
playing on the stereotype of the hillbilly a lot.
It's playing on that. I was going to say that the relational and gender politics of it are upended, which is comedic in 1964, but is probably played straight nowadays.
Possibly, yeah.
Where it gets upended like that in a way to kind of make a point. This isn't trying to make a point. This is saying, look at these big, strong army guys that are getting overpowered by a bunch of scantily clad hillbilly women. Kind of thing. It still works, and it works in a way that I would say like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers doesn't.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is more uncomfortable.
But this is a see it from me. Why wouldn't you see this? This is good, fun movie watching. This is the kind of thing that you pop some popcorn, you say to your group of friends, hey, let's watch an Elvis movie, and you'll make a little bit of lighthearted fun at some of the sillier aspects of it, and you tease the children in the room about the high riz of Elvis.
The king of rock and roll.
The king of rock and roll. And why he has to have his shirt unbuttoned down to his down to his belly button.
Okay, calm down.
Calm down. You were the one that was just like, yo, brah, what? Ho.
Okay, that's enough.
That's enough out of you.
That's enough.
It's a see it from me.
It's a see it from me. What about you, Geek Cave Kid? What do you think?
See it.
See it?
Say it louder. Say it so people can hear it.
See it, because it's good.
It's good.
See it because it's good. You heard it from us. And I guess that's my turn then.
It is your turn.
All right.